Good evening. My name is Wayne Ginty. I'd like to welcome you all to this extremely special and honored event. It's special for all those present. This is our 19th induction, even though we've had more years. Last year we had a construction issue, and we did have some issues during COVID where we didn't conduct any classes. So this is our 19th class of inductees into the Distinguished Alumni. I'm proud to represent the Distinguished Alumni, or the Distinguished, the board, the foundation board here this evening. This group, along with the ceremony, gives a lot of money away. And we've given over $150,000 in paid up scholarship or tuition reimbursements for high school students here at Lockport. We have an outstanding group of volunteers: Cookie Butcher, Caitlin Dockery, Tammy Dodge, Fran Klump, Marty LaPointe, Betty Newton, Scott Seekins, and Shirley Weiland. Our board is also led by two selfless people, Bill Agronin and Gracie Scirto. Shout outs go to Don Wilkie, the principal, who's extremely supportive of our work, the LHS guidance staff, Valerie Hamlick, Rob Pachillo, Peter Meyer, and Yvonne Lane for all of their continued support for our work. Thanks also to Frank Movali, who's a past principal of this building, who helped inspire this venture. Finally, thanks to LCTV and for their support and the continued support of the Lockport Union Sun and Journal. This night is about excellence and service to others. Simply, these 8 people are amazing, and they make this building proud. Our first inductee this evening is Laura Miskell Benedict. Laura is a practicing attorney in the Lockport area since the year 2000. Her focus has been family and matrimonial law. She has zealously advocated for children in custody cases, neglect cases, and abuse cases. She's been an award winner as attorney for children. She has been awarded for integrity and service to the legal profession. She has blazed the trail for fellow female attorneys through her model of excellence. She was the first female attorney to represent the city of Lockport. She's a member of the Lockport Mill Race and the Women's Bar Association of Niagara County. She's held in the highest regard by all those who she has worked with and who she's represented. I've known Laura for many years. She's a humble person with a large heart. She even has Lincoln logs in her office to help entertain kids she works with. I recall her as a bright light in my classroom. She approached her studies with vigor and quietly chipped in to help those less able. I guess those attributes are portended with things to come. What a career you've carved out. Laura is married to husband Michael. They have 2 children, Emmeline and Erik. Laura Miskell Benedict, you are now part of the Lockport High School Distinguished Alumni.
So thank you for that, Mr. Ginty. I appreciate it. I'm really thrilled to be acknowledged with these fine people on stage with me here today. It's an honor to be recognized for work that I truly love doing. My work as attorney for the children. I'm really grateful and humble for all the awards that I've won in my career, but the ones that make me most proud are the ones that I've received for representing children. I could never do the work that I do in representing the children in our county and raising 2 incredible children without my husband, so I thank him too. Being the first woman in Lockport's history to lead the city attorney's office was quite an honor, and it was really meaningful to me, especially raising a daughter. I did that for 4 years while I also did my practice and did my AFC work. but my biggest success is for sure my two children. Emmeline and Erik will also graduate from this school, same as I did, but they will undoubtedly be on stage in years to come for many more awards than I could win. I'm very proud of them and the bright and kind and incredible kids they are because of the education that they have received in this district. When my husband and I moved to Lockport before we started our family, it really wasn't a question to me whether or not my kids would go to public school, and in fact, to Lockport. I know that there's a lot of people that are surprised that a two-attorney household would choose public school, but it really wasn't an option to do anything but. My mom is a retired school teacher. Both my sisters are in the public school system in Kenmore. And my whole family is a big proponent of public schools. I think the proof is in the people sitting up here with me and the amazing kids that we're raising in this district. So I want to thank all my previous teachers that have led me to where I am today, and to thank my family and my friends that are here today. Thank you all. Thank you for always coming third after my kids and my work and just showing up for me like you do. And I want to thank my incredible parents, Alan Miskell and Debbie Miskell, who raised me to fight for the less fortunate and always balance education and hard work alongside my family. So thank you for this honor.
Our second inductee is also from the class of 1996. Paul Breloff lives in Nairobi, Kenya. It's a cumbersome journey to get here. It says a lot about Paul that he's present. Paul is the CEO and the co-founder of Shortlist, which is a talent advisory and tech company which provides recruitment and youth employment services across Africa. He has spent much of his career expanding microfinance, social enterprise, and impact investing. His goal has always been to make business a force for good, not evil. He has led a team which has helped 900 companies and 1.5 million job seekers across 30 countries. He's been a corporate lawyer, an advertising executive, and advises numerous investment funds. Paul was a class valedictorian here in 1996, and he captained 3 different sports. Yep, he captained 3 different sports. His way of being includes more than talent. It's a genuine humility and care for others that's made him a natural leader. I witnessed this firsthand, observing him daily in my ethics class and leading his basketball teammates through hard work and encouragement. Paul decided some time ago to invest his talent and gifts to do good things. You should have done that, Paul. He's married to Rachel and has a beautiful baby, Asher. Paul Breloff, I welcome you to the LHS Distinguished Alumni.
Thank you so much, Coach Ginty. Also, Mr. Ginty, I've known you in both capacities. This is actually the first time I've been back in the high school since the late 90s. It's amazing to be here. My only regret is that my wife, Rachel, and 15-month-old Asher can't be here. It's a very long trip from Kenya, and it's much longer with a toddler. They make it very difficult. Lockport High and Lockport are really special places for me. They've only become more special as I get more old and as I get further and further away it feels. And I think it's fair to say I followed a pretty unusual path for a Lockport Lion. I think when I've tended to zig when everyone else is zagging, and I've tried to go places where there's fewer people like me in the hopes that I can make a bigger difference. I'd love to explain a little bit what I've been up to because it's often hard to explain and I rarely get a mini audience. So I'll share a little bit about this wild journey. As Coach Ginty mentioned, the common thread over the last 20 years has been trying to make business work for good, make entrepreneurship work for good, not for bad. I started off trying to almost tear down the capitalist system before deciding how can we make it something that works and delivers things that people need around the world. This started in law school. I was part of starting a community development bank that was serving low-income neighborhoods around New Haven, Connecticut, where I went. And then I thought to myself, what's the kind of community banking version that Indiana Jones would do? And that brought me to microfinance. And so that led me to a small town of 12 million people called Hyderabad, India. Wouldn't be surprised if not many people have heard of it. I had never heard of it until I got on a plane to go there. But yes, 12 million people live there. And to join a microfinance institution. Microfinance is a development tool that you give small loans to poor women to often buy an asset like a cow, milk it, literally and figuratively, make a little bit more money, and try to break the cycle of poverty. I joined an organization there as employee 80. 3 years later, we were 28,000 people serving 8 million low-income households across India. I was one of 2 foreigners. And so, yes, that means that for 3 meals a day, every day, I was eating Indian. So you can imagine what that was like. I then got really excited about startups and how startups could push the innovation frontier. I set up an investment fund, a venture capital fund, and invested in a whole bunch of startups around the world. I was based in Washington, D.C., but every 2 or 3 weeks I was on a flight somewhere: Pakistan, Indonesia, India, China, Colombia, Brazil, and even around the US. And the fund I started has now invested over $100 million into 120 startups around the world, and they're doing great. I'm really proud of that. I then got really interested in jobs and youth employment. And if you start thinking about youth employment and jobs, you've got to think about Africa. Africa is the youngest continent on Earth, so the average age here is around 40. The average age in Africa is 18. That means there are more people entering the workforce in Africa every year for the next 30 years than the rest of the world combined. So 12 million people enter the workforce every year. 3 million jobs are created by local economies. And so the numbers just don't work. So I started a company called Shortlist. We run apprenticeship and job placement programs across Africa, trying to help people kind of make that successful transition from education to employment. So we get people jobs across growth sectors like climate, clean energy, and remote digital work, where people can sit in front of computers in Africa, but do work for companies all over the world. We've now worked with about 2 million young people and directly placed about 20,000 people into jobs. We're also raising different funds to do different kind of innovation projects. We just started a fund on generative AI with Gates Foundation, where we fund innovations in how Gen AI can drive more jobs across Africa. So it's been an incredible adventure. I feel so grateful for these experiences. Rachel, Asher, and I have an incredible life in Kenya. My parents have thankfully made the trip a couple of times to visit. Any weekend we can get out and see rhinos, lions, elephants within a couple of hours in the wild. We can go kite surfing on some of the best beaches on earth. We hang out in the foothills of Mount Kenya at 16,000 feet. It's terrific. I think my only regret is that this adventure has taken me so far from home, and from here, and from my parents, who have been wonderfully supportive as I do these wild and crazy things. But I know it must be hard. And I know it's hard for me to be so far away. Even as I've lived around the world, I still feel very much like a Lockport kid at heart. The lessons and values I learned here have been with me throughout my life. They're central to who I am, probably even more so as I enter middle age. Their values and principles have taught me some of the people in this room and some of the amazing teachers, coaches, mentors, friends I've made over the years. Teachers like Mrs. Hanson, who's out in the hallway, my first grade teacher. Magister Bagley was here earlier tonight. Of course, Mr. Ginty, Mrs. Smith, Mr. Valerie, Mr. Main, Mr. Shambach, who's also here. Shambach and Ginty also have the honors of being amazing coaches, as well as like Roy Macaluso, Dick Crossett, Dick Russell, who were really important to me. Some of these have also been my employers. Again, Mr. Shambach gets the Triple Crown. Thank you for being here for your brother. But as employers and as bosses, my first job was landscaping with Coach Russell. Second job for several years was teaching tennis with Mr. Shambach, which was really important. I believe one of the problems in the modern world is there's not enough role models for particularly young men to look up to where we're at. And I feel so incredibly grateful that the people I saw every day and looked up to, my teachers, my coaches, my parents, were amazing role models who taught me some of the most important elements of being a good person. I learned the value of hard work from cutting lawns and picking up broken glass on the highway with Coach Russell, from these incredible basketball practices where we end up vomiting most days, intense practice schedule and extracurriculars and other things that honestly, when I went and was a corporate lawyer working 80 hours a week, it still seemed easy compared to senior year basketball season. I learned the value of teamwork, the importance of working together on the basketball court with people that maybe didn't come from the same background as me, as well as I've been on the tennis team where we needed every match point so that we could beat those rich, smug kids at Nichols and win the league championship in 1996. Learned the importance of doing things right, whether that was and I think about basketball practices and how if we didn't keep our butts down through all the slide drills all the way to the end, even if it didn't matter, we'd have to start over and do it again. And that's a lesson that you only need to learn once to realize you don't want to do it again. And I internalized kind of a basic kindness and friendliness, which I'm impressed by every time I visit. Most of you live here, perhaps you're a bit desensitized to it, but I'm always amazed by the warmth and good vibes every time I show up. Walmart, Tops, everywhere I go. My wife's from Manhattan, and she jokes that if someone comes up to you on the street, smiles, looks you in the eye, they're probably about to mug you. It's a very different approach to how I grew up in Lockport, and I try to bring that kind of decency wherever I go. So these have also, of course, been reinforced by my amazing parents. Thanks, Mom and Dad. As I get older, I appreciate more and more the ways that your values, integrity, and kindness have shaped the best parts of me. The worst parts are all mine. Mom, thanks for teaching me to care about people, to be tuned into what people are feeling and what they need, for teaching me to love books and the worlds that I can create in my mind, for creating with Dad such a wonderful home to grow up in and letting us play basketball in the house and break things. Dad, thank you for teaching me to work hard and compete hard, for never letting me win in tennis or horse, for showing up to my games and matches even when you make me more nervous, for making me recut the grass or repaint the wall if you spotted a drop, and for your loving your work and doing your best and showing me what professional craft and care look like. You've been the greatest role models for Tom, Neil, and I, and I love you both so much. Thanks so much for supporting me even as I go off and do these crazy things. Thanks again to the foundation for this honor and the chance to be here. I'm so grateful for the education and the coming of age that Lockport High and Lockport schools gave me, and I'll definitely cherish this moment forever. Thanks so much.
Betty Jo Licata, class of 1975. Dr. Licata has taken an academic approach to her excellence in service. She is currently Dean Emerita of the Williamson College of Business Administration at Youngstown State University. She has served in similar roles at other colleges. Dr. Licata is a scholar with numerous publications. Her scholarship includes labor and management relations, sexual harassment at the workplace, the integration of diverse individuals into the workplace. She's won the Parker McHenry Board Excellence Award. She's been named Dean of the Year, Advocate of the Year, and been awarded the Junior Achievement Leadership Award. She has served for the United Way, Mercy Health in Youngstown, the Committee for Catholic Funding, the Youngstown Business Incubator, the Youngstown Playhouse, in the Humility of Mary Health Parish. Mary Jo's a giver. She's married to Jack Mondo and has 3 children, Joey, Jack, and Mary Elizabeth. What a legacy. Welcome to the LSH Distinguished Alumni.
These people have had remarkable careers and made a significant impact in their communities here and around the world. I'd like to thank my friend Paul Reed and Nancy Pullman, who are here with me this evening and helped make this possible. We were asked to reflect on our time at Lockport, was senior high school back when I was here. And between this evening and my upcoming 50th high school reunion, which doesn't seem possible, I spent a lot of time thinking about what high school was like. I've been to high school, college, and graduate school, and have so many more memories from my high school years, of friends, activities, and the teachers who influenced us. As a career educator and administrator, I would often remind myself and others how important the impact of our words and actions are on our students. And I think back on high school, which are our most formative years, and I think about how our teachers challenged us, demanded much of us academically, and provided a wide range of leadership and performance opportunities that shaped the adults we became. While I wasn't a student athlete, as my husband would attest to, and I wasn't in the band, which I really always wanted to do but didn't have the talent because they were such a wonderfully cohesive group. I did have the opportunity to be active with Student Council, Future Teachers of America, Spanish Club, the Towpath, and the Lockport Youth Bureau, and a timer for the boys swim team. These experiences helped us to develop the leadership skills, communication skills, and teamwork that even today are so critical and that employers are looking for in the students that they hire. But I think back to who helped us develop those skills and how did they help us do that? Now, I noticed I'm one of the more senior members of the group this evening. So a lot of these teachers may not be with us anymore physically, but in spirit, and their influence will always live on. And I know I speak for many of us when I mention Mr. John Copeless, who was our English teacher, world literature, Greek mythology, and many other English classes, and Mr. San Bertino. These classes not only positioned us to succeed in college, but to perhaps test out in some of our college requirements. And I still remember in one of my college English classes when the faculty member said we'd have to write a 3-page paper. The students were in a panic in that class. I was appalled because if any of you remember John Copeless, there was no such thing as a 3-page paper. We were probably talking like 20 or 30-page papers. When I graduated, Mr. Copeless gave me a large book of Shakespeare's works, and I still have that and will always cherish that book. Mr. Palmater for calculus. Now, for those, you point to laugh at this, those of you who are much younger. But way back when I was in high school, nobody took high school classes for college credit. But in 1974, we had an opportunity to do so. But we had to convince our principal, Mr. Ed Sullivan, that we wanted to do this. And Mr. Palmater was willing to do it. Mr. Sullivan agreed. But this is how it went. We watched videotapes. I don't know, maybe Mr. Gronin remembers this, but we watched videotapes of Bob and Ray, the comedians, teaching us calculus. And then Mr. Palmater would follow up. And if you passed all of the tests, then you would earn college credit. And many of my classmates did, earn 6 credits from Niagara University. Thank God things have changed. And thankfully, the Lockport Foundation invests in the students who are earning college credit while they're in high school. I don't think they're watching videotapes anymore of Bob and Ray teaching them calculus. But Mr. Palmater was a demanding calculus teacher, but he brought us that unique opportunity. And I think back to the teachers who impacted us, like Mrs. Sirianni, who took many of us on our first trip. We went to Mexico. It was the first time on a plane for many of us. My parents said, you need to earn the money. Got a job working in the Hallmark store, worked there for all through high school, all through college, and even while I was student teaching. So the lessons that we learned here have stayed with us forever. The last time I was on this stage, I think it was our senior awards assembly, Mr. Sullivan said, watch the trees. Because my senior year, I happened to hit our principal's tree with my mother's car. I had to go through the rest of my senior year being called Crash Licata. But one of the pictures that you saw up there was Mr. Sullivan, who was the principal at the time, with many of my high school friends who were at our wedding in 1986. Student council was a formative time for me. As I listened to Paul and Laura, I think of the adage, the past predicts the future. And the activities, the impact, and the lessons that we learned at Lockport Senior High School have carried with us and enabled us to carry on and impact the communities and the careers that we've had. 1974 was also the first year that Camp Keenan admitted girls. So many of us were able to be the first set of female camp counselors at Camp Keenan. And that was a wonderful experience for us too. I'd like to thank the Lockport High School Foundation for this honor, and most importantly, for investing in the students of Lockport High School as they pursue their life's goals. Your support of college credit, college scholarships, and instructional materials makes a significant impact that yields a lifetime of returns for these students. Public education is challenged at all levels, and we must all fight to ensure that the leaders of tomorrow have the opportunities, the access, and the high-quality education that all of us have had the privilege of having. In closing, I'd like to acknowledge my parents, Betty and Sam. Some of you know Ms. Alabama Licata, and especially my mother and all the mothers who drove us to our meetings, our games, and our other activities, because in the 70s, we didn't have cars like the kids have today. I'd like to thank my husband, Jack, who's always with me and supporting me, my 3 children, my brother, Joe, who's also here with me for a lifetime of love and support. I'd like to thank you again for this recognition. And as they say, you can take the girl out of Lockport, but you can't take Lockport out of the girl. Thank you very much.
In trig class, him coming in with a cart with this large machine on it, and he warned us, nobody can touch this machine, don't get near this machine. And it was all the size this big, and it was something called a calculator. He said, you put away your slide rules. It's my memory of Chuck Commoner. Next up, the Honorable Michael Norris. I recall Mike Norris as a quiet, serious student in my history class some 30 years ago. I'm not at all surprised to see him honored on the dais this evening. Mike is currently serving as New York State Supreme Court Justice in the 8th Judicial District, where he handles personal injury, matrimonial, and other matters. He has previously served as New York County Elections Committee, Town of Lockport, Somerset, Cassadaga County. He represented all of them as an attorney. He served 4 terms as New York State Assemblyman, representing the 144th District. While in the Assembly, he served in many committee and leadership roles. He's held in very high regard by his colleagues and by his constituents here. He also found the time to serve as president of the Lockport Rotary Club. He's been volunteer at the Youth Tony Nemi Youth Sportsman's League, the LCTV Board of Directors. He spearheaded Toys for Children at Oshoy Hospital and helped get coats and hats and gloves to kids in need. He has done so with kindness and quiet service. Judge Michael Norris has had a stellar career. He exemplifies integrity and goodwill. Judge Norris, welcome to the LSH Distinguished Alumni.
It is with great pride and humility that I'm part of such a distinguished group being inducted here tonight, and I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to my fellow honorees and their family and friends. For without a strong foundation, this moment simply would not have been possible for any of us. That's why I would like to first recognize my mom and dad, my brother Adam and his wife Stacy, my brother Andrew and his wife Kim, my best friend Brad Marble and his wife Joanna, my uncle Bill Gronin, and their families for all of their support over the years and for being here tonight. I have been so fortunate and blessed, having the special privilege to serve our community as a municipal attorney in the State Assembly and now as a judge, with each experience being built off the wisdom gained from the previous ones. These seeds were planted due to the Lockport City School District, especially my time here at Lockport High School, which provided an outstanding foundation, education, and opportunities that allowed me a chance to follow my dreams and aspirations. This nerdy kid in the 1990s, who would rather watch and talk about the events of the 1992 presidential election than even the stats and unprecedented 4-time consecutive Super Bowl appearance run of our Buffalo Bills was encouraged and guided by fantastic teachers like John Beatty and Wayne Ginty to pursue a career and passion for public service, politics, and law. Through their efforts and others, I was selected as an intern my senior year with Mayor Tom Rotundo at City Hall through the Action Leadership Internship Program, and also provided a chance to visit Albany to see Senator John Daly and walk in our state capitol for the very first time. These impactful moments and constant encouragement laid a firm foundation which paved the way for my career in public service. Ironically, though, after a very interesting journey in politics for over 30 years, I must admit that I would rather talk about our Buffalo Bills than discuss current events and presidential elections. Well, most of the time. Our Lockport City School District is one we should all remain so proud of. During my time in the State Assembly, I saw firsthand the recent accomplishments of our robotics team, artists, musicians, athletes, and scholars. As a Lockport alumnus, this provided me such joy to see and to know that our strong Lockport Lion tradition marches forward. Let's all continue to be strong ambassadors in promoting our tremendous district and high school and recognizing the dedicated efforts of our students, teachers, administrators, volunteer trustees, support staff, and other volunteers who are inspiring the next generation of community leaders. In closing, I would like to read the following poem, which I received in a high school graduation card that I have kept copies of in my desk drawers, whether in Albany, in court, at the law office, or my personal desk at home, to serve as a constant guide and reminder of what I and others should strive to do along life's journey. I hope my achievements in life shall be these: that I will have fought for what was right and fair, that I will have risked for that which mattered, that I will have given help to those who were in need, that I will have left the earth a better place for what I've done and who I have been. I have made many mistakes along the way, but remain focused on adhering to this poem's message to help make the lives of others in our community better, and never forgetting where I come from and those roots here at Lockport High School, which has provided such a strong and critical foundation for extraordinary blessings and opportunities. Thank you again to the leadership and directors of the foundation for this honor and for your continued hard work in promoting our district and Lockport High School. Thank you very much.
Andrew Rosenberg is a licensed funeral director and has become a great leader in the family business of Pruden and Camp here in Lockport. He has over 20 years of experience as a funeral director. Many in this room and across the community have observed him in this capacity. He's done so with dignity, kindness, empathy, and professionalism. His gentle nature, his kindness reach people at some of their most difficult times. For Andy, his work is not a job, it's a passion. Along with his professional work, he also gives to others elsewhere. He's an active member of the Rotary Club. He's volunteered as commissioner on the police board, volunteered at the City Zoning Board of Appeals. He's active in professional organizations at the local, state, and federal levels. I also had the pleasure of teaching Andy, as I did with Mike, Paul, and Laura. He was a joy to work with, very curious, always with a smile, and always with a quick jab. I observed firsthand his good work and commitment to others while working here in Lockport. He sure has enriched the lives of the people he touches. Married to his wife Heather, his 4 children, Madison, Matthew, Benjamin, and Kennedy. Andrew Rosenberg, welcome to the Lockport High School Distinguished Alumni.
Thank you. Thank you to the esteemed members of Lockport community, distinguished guests, alumni, family, and friends, and students. It is with deep gratitude and humility that I stand here before you this evening, accepting the honor of being inducted into the 2025 Lockport High School Distinguished Alumni class, to be recognized by my alma mater, a place that shaped me in so many ways can scarcely describe, is a moment I will cherish forever. First, I'd like to express my heartfelt thanks to the Lockport High School Alumni Association for this incredible recognition. This is not a journey I've taken alone. I owe so much to the educators, mentors, family, and friends who supported me along the way from the first day that I walked through Lockport High School in September of 1993. I had a lot more hair back then, I know, and it was a lot darker, okay? But I was able to grow a beard, okay? I'm also incredibly proud to stand here tonight knowing that my family has such deep connection to this school. This is not a journey, all 8 of my siblings, 8 in-laws, a niece, a nephew, have all graduated from Lockport, and many more to come. Most important to me, my wife, Heather, also a graduate of Lockport High School and is currently a 2nd grade teacher at Roy B. Kelly. It is especially meaningful to me to be inducted this year as my daughter Madison just graduated, and we're getting ready to say goodbye to her. She's going off to St. John Fisher in 10 days. 13-37-3. That was my locker combination. Just a few lockers down from my best friend, Brad Sanacor, who I think is sitting, yep, there he is. And a few to the left of the late Mrs. Claire Smith, who would later become my psychology and sociology teacher. My homeroom was right across the hall in Mr. Richard Russell's room. I would later have Mr. Douglas McIntyre for homeroom, who would routinely blow an air horn in the hallway to remind us it was time to get to class. As I reflect on my time at Lockport High School, I'll admit academically, I was not the best student. My grades were average at best. And there were times when my mom would ask me to get weekly reports from my teachers to show what progress I was making. I have them here. Which I stand before you tonight to thank her on insisting to get that. One teacher in particular took that step a little bit further. Mr. Nick Coppola would personally deliver my homework and quizzes to my father at the funeral home every Friday afternoon. Even though I'd sometimes physically get sick to my stomach thinking about going to his class, I am grateful for the tough love that he showed. Some students might have resented such actions, but I never did. I was lucky to have teachers like him, and I didn't fully realize it at the time, but I do now. Another teacher who made a lasting impact on me was Mr. Alex Mastriani, one of the most charismatic math teachers I ever had the pleasure of being taught by. He taught me that math was more than just numbers. It was about life skills, understanding the process, learning to break down the problem into more manageable steps. Then there was the late Chris Goebel and Mr. Montalvo, who also helped me refine those skills. I was fortunate to have so many incredible teachers. Mr. Fred Waskovich taught me the importance of note-taking with his overhead projector, and how even the smallest detail could be crucial. Mr. Donald Skoma instilled in me the mastery style of teaching, where failure was never the end. There was always another chance to try again. Magister Bagley pushed me to strive for more teaching pushed me to strive for more, teaching me Latin, but more importantly, teaching me to be a better person every day. There are so many other teachers and subjects. Mr. Ginty with his ethics class, Mrs. Haber with her mass media, Mrs. Conley, business law, Mrs. Schmidt, of course, Mr. Shambach, each of whom had an impact far beyond the subjects that they taught. What's truly comical is that despite not being the best student, my report cards always had the same note. I was a pleasure to have in class. Really? 75, pleasure to have in class. I tried to take that argument to my parents when I got my report card. I would say that didn't go over very well. It didn't matter. I told them I was a good kid though, right? Didn't work. Lockport High School has helped me to form many lasting friendships, relationships that I treasure to this day. I know I could call any of my classmates or even teachers I didn't have, like Mr. Jack DiMaggio or Mr. Kevin Clark. And they'd be there to offer their advice or to offer a listening ear. My kids are fortunate to experience that same support from their teachers like John Sullivan and Marshall Hall, and even going back to the primary levels, my wife, my sister, Mrs. Kane, and Mrs. Sharon Seraph. Lockport High School taught me that success is not defined by awards and trophies, but by the way we carry ourselves and the positive impact we have on others. It's about showing up every day with integrity and striving to be our best, not just for ourselves, but for others around us. To the current students of Lockport High School, I urge you to embrace the opportunities before you. Don't be afraid to take risks, make mistakes, and ask questions. The experiences you're having now will shape the person that you become. The relationships you build, the lessons you learn, and the challenges you face will become the foundation of your future. Take pride in those experiences. They are part of something much bigger than you can see right now. And to my fellow alumni, this recognition is much more about all of us as it is the community that shaped us into who we are today. Each of us has contributed to this legacy of Lockport High School, whether through our careers, community service, or the example we set for future generations. Together, we are the heart and soul of this institution. As I accept this honor, I do so with great appreciation for everything that Lockport High School has given me. I promise to continue to give back in any way I can, ensuring the next generation of students has the same opportunities to grow and thrive and succeed. There's an old Latin proverb that says, non solum ad scholae, sed ad vitam decimus. We do not learn for school alone, but for life. Thank you to my family, my friends, and my teachers that all shaped my life at Lockport High School for believing in me. I am forever part of this community. I will carry this honor with me always. Go Bills.
Class of 2011. Erik Schneider graduated from Canisius University with an associate's degree in the humanities. He now works there as a housekeeping foreman in the facilities management department. His endearing personality, evidenced in the halls and classrooms here in this building, has served him well, and he is a hit with his coworkers and staff at Canisius. Erik has been a major contributor to the Lockport Toastmasters, serving at times as Sergeant-at-Arms, Vice President, and President. He has competed in numerous speech contests. He's given blood platelets every 2 weeks for years. Canisius University has recognized him for his continued positivity. He's spoken freely of his time at Wahi Studio, given freely of his time, the WAHI Studio, the Chalk Festival of Newfane, the Celtic Festival and Games, and assistant youth programs for the Toastmasters. Erik credits his family and the teachers and staff here at Lockport High School for helping him overcome some academic obstacles he encountered. It was Erik who overcame those obstacles through his hard work and kindness. I did not teach Erik, yet had many conversations with him in the hall near my room. He always injected joy into my day. He continues to inject that joy each day for others. Erik is the youngest child of George and Mary Schneider. Erik Schneider, welcome to the LHS Distinguished Alumni.
Good evening and thank you. First and foremost, I would like to thank the committee for this prestigious honor. I'm truly humbled and grateful. Receiving this recognition is not something I could have achieved on my own. It took a remarkable support system who stood by me throughout my school years and beyond. As a student with a learning disability, my journey was not easy, but was worth every challenge. From the beginning, my parents and siblings worked tirelessly to help me succeed. Their belief in me laid the foundation for everything I've accomplished. And when I reflect on my school career, I see a village of people who guided me along the way, from managing my learning challenges to running cross country under the dedicated guidance of Bob Everhart, to earning the nickname Jimbo after my favorite movie character, James Bond. Each moment shaped the person I am today and prepared me for what lies ahead. At Lockport High School, I was fortunate enough to have teachers who genuinely cared. They took the time to ensure I understood the material and always encouraged me to keep pushing forward. To every teacher from John Pound Elementary, like Mrs. LaPointe in the front row, who was my third grade teacher back in the day, who I still love and respect. To Lockport High, I want to thank you for your unwavering support and belief in me. You planted the seeds of confidence and curiosity that have grown me into a lifelong love of learning. Among the many wonderful educators, there is one I must highlight, Scott Redinger. I had the honor of being in his social studies class in both 9th and 10th grade, and we've still built a friendship that continues today. At the end of my sophomore year, I gave him my folders to use as examples for future students. He called it the E.J. Schneider file. Just about 4 months ago, I reached out to him in an email just to say hello and how things are going. And to this day, he told me that he still has those folders. That meant so much to me. It reminded me that the impact we make on each other's lives can last a lifetime. From walking the halls to inside the classroom, the high school made an impact on me as a person. Made a lot of friends, had wonderful teachers, competed in a sport that I love. And one of my best friends in the audience, Mary Cavanero, we were voted both most unforgettable in our senior yearbook. We used to jump up in the air. They told us, jump in the air, and we really jumped high. I noticed on the district website that in the 20 plus years that this award has been given, I'm the youngest and newest honoree. Ain't that amazing? Jumping ahead to this year, this past May, I was honored to walk across the stage to receive my associate's degree in humanities from Canisius University. Now, some people said I could never go this far, but I had to channel that iconic Frank Sinatra saying I did it my way, and the best is yet to come. The people who I want to thank too, then the most special people in my life is my parents, Mary and George. Mom, boss man, you worked so hard to build up my confidence and help me overcome every obstacle. I know it wasn't easy, but we faced it together. To my siblings who couldn't be here tonight, my brother Patrick, my sisters Andrea and Alyssa, thank you for your patience, your help, and your belief in me. I knew I could always count on your support, even with just a phone call away. And I want to credit more to my brother, who has helped me so much in my school journey, and he has been a supportive brother, and so has my sisters. And a heartfelt thank you to my brother-in-law, Derek, and to my nieces, Camille, Aria, and Nola. My nieces bring me joy, love, and encouragement to my life every day. And to my friends from the Toastmasters clubs, to the Celtic Fest community. You have inspired me in ways you may never fully know, and I'm deeply grateful for your friendship, mentorship, and encouragement. As I close, I would like to leave you with a quote from someone who inspires me deeply, Henry Winkler, who, like me, has a disability. He once said, "You don't have any idea how powerful you are and what you can achieve. You literally cannot give in to your fear. You literally have to walk over it, step on its face, and keep moving forward where you want to go. And eventually, if I can't get there, there's no reason you can't get there." Thank you very much. Thank you.
Scirto, class of 1958. Gracie was a highly respected and talented secretary for 33 years, retiring in 2002. Her quiet demeanor belied her highly proficient performance on her daily tasks. She was the go-to person for the faculty and staff here because all knew that if you wanted something done right, you went to Gracie. Gracie, along with retired Principal Frank Movalli, initiated the LHS Foundation 22 years ago. As I mentioned before, we've now dispersed between $150,000 and $200,000 in tuition expense for college classes. Gracie's an active volunteer in the local food pantry. She's a member of the Rosary Society in the Erie Canal Group Work Camp. She volunteers at St. John's Church, Wyndham Lawn Home, Mental Health Association, and United Way. She remains the heart and soul of our organization here. And just to let you know, we made her accept this. She didn't want this recognition. If you know Gracie, she likes to be in the background. I recently went to the Palisier to watch Tarzan. And sure enough, who was there volunteering to hand out programs? Son of a gun, it was Gracie. She's selfless. She's kind. She does for others with no expectation of any fanfare. She loves spending time with her family. Simply put, she's special. And it's my great honor to welcome Gracie Scirto to the Lockport High School Distinguished Alumni.
Good evening. I also want to congratulate my fellow honorees this evening. My education in the business curriculum at Lockport Senior High School gave me the skills to become a secretary for 33 years in various positions. Ms. Wesley, Mr. Kenyon, Mr. Meyer, Mr. Augustine, Mr. Tavro taught me shorthand, which I can still write, but not as fast as I used to, typing, business math, and business law. You'll have to forgive me if I don't remember a lot of my teachers, but it has been 67 years since I graduated. When I graduated, my first job was working at Schley Lumber and Yo-Yo Factory that was in the Bare Bottoms store on Ann Street now. I worked for two great businessmen taking shorthand every day, customer service, and doing payroll for both companies, which the employees received in cash. I had to figure out how many 20, 10s, 5s, nickels, dimes, quarters that I needed to get to the bank to put in each envelope. It was very challenging for an 18-year-old, but very rewarding when at the end of the day, no one complained. I was never good at working the yo-yo though. After 2 years, I got married and then took 11 years off to raise my 4 children. Some are here with me tonight, along with many other family and friends. My daughter Patty and her husband Clark came in from California. When I went back to work, I started at Emmett Belknap as secretary to Howard Lehman, guidance counselor. I then went on to NCCC, as secretary to the Dean of Student Affairs, then as secretary to George, the general manager at Chemical Waste Management. We were known as the George and Gracie Show. While working there, I got to plan our company picnic at Fantasy Island our children's Christmas party with Santa, gifts, and crafts. And I'm sure my grandchildren remember that. Finally, I worked for 3 of the last 4 principals at Lockport High School. Mrs. Terry Carbone, Dr. Bruce Frazier, Mr. Mavali, and Dawn, I'm sorry I had to retire. I want to thank Dr. Frazier, Mr. Mavali, and Dawn for being here this evening. And thanks to Mr. Mavali, my last principal, for getting me involved with his idea for a high school foundation. The foundation started in 2003 and is now in its 22nd year and doing very well. My career has been very rewarding to me, and I couldn't have done it without the skills of the faculty at Lockport Senior High School. Now that I'm retired, I enjoy my volunteer work and spending time with my grandchildren and my 10 great-grandchildren. Thank you to my fellow trustees for the honor of being one of the Distinguished Alumni for 2025.
Colonel Stephen Shambach, class of 1969. Colonel Shambach decided early to dedicate his life to the service of his country. He graduated from West Point in 1974, commissioned as an infantry officer. He has been a platoon leader, a brigade operations officer, and led a combat support group. He served in harm's way in the demilitarized zone in Korea. Colonel Shambach commanded 1,800 troops in Germany, 850 troops in Colorado, 2,000 troops in Los Angeles. He worked in the Pentagon and taught at the War College in Pennsylvania. He eventually landed as a teacher of ethics, character, and leadership at West Point. He has directed the Rocky Mountain Youth Leadership Conference and volunteers at the Pikes Peak West Point Society. He's been an officer, Christian Fellowship, and a church usher. The colonel is a difference maker. Colonel Shambach is married to Miriam. He has 3 children, Jay, Will, and Melissa. A shout out to his brother Dave, who made it in tonight. Please join me in welcoming Colonel Stephen Shambach as a member of the LHS Distinguished Alumni.
Thanks, Wayne. Well, going last, I got to hear some incredible stories, and it truly, I mean this sincerely, it truly is humbling to be associated with all of you and all the accomplishments you've had. I'd first like to thank the foundation, and particularly Gracie Scirto, for all she did to allow me to be here tonight to be a distinguished graduate. It's an honor and a privilege to be a distinguished LSHS graduate, given all the more deserving classmates and graduates over the past many years. Today, I'm honored to have my wife of 33 years, Miriam, with me, also my brother Dave and his wife Nancy Shambach from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, a previous distinguished grad honoree. Also, dear classmates, Cindy Storrs Cotton, Mike Deemer, Gary and Diane Braun, Nicola Antonio Cross, and Bruce Nivert. I hope I didn't miss any of my other classmates who were here. I do regret that my children, Valerie, Will, and Melissa, and grandson Jay, were unable to attend tonight. I accepted this invitation to speak so I could honor others who made this award possible and not to focus on myself. When I was in 9th grade, Mrs. Chase, my art science teacher, noticed that even though I sat in front of the class, I was having trouble reading the blackboard. So she called my mom and said, probably needs to get his eyes checked. So I went to the optometrist. Sure enough, I was in need of glasses. A few days later, I got those glasses, and I'll never forget walking outside to see how sharp, clear, and vibrant everything was, and how much I had missed over those many years before my eyesight deteriorated and I needed glasses. So it taught me a lesson about what you take for granted day by day that you don't appreciate, but when you have a different way of looking at it in perspective, it really stands out clearly to you. My reflections on my time at Lockport Senior High School refer to names that most of you are not familiar with, However, I ask that you consider who you do know who has shaped yourself. I'm particularly indebted to my parents, Art and Julie Shambach, who lovingly raised me and my brothers, gave me my values, and provided upbringing, experience, and support with lessons that have lasted a lifetime. My parents attended virtually all of my sport and music activities throughout my life. They may best be remembered for bringing apples to the tennis team for every game for them to enjoy. Of course, also my brother Erik, who passed away. Dave and Fred had a major impact on my development while growing up and throughout the years. You couldn't ask for better brothers to grow up with. First, though, I can't talk about Lockport Senior High School without explaining the importance and impact of growing up in Lockport. The scripture says that our lives need to be built on a firm foundation. For me, that is God. And our lives develop based on our foundation, and our development is based on our foundation. Here are the important things that were my foundation. First of all, my faith. Started at First Presbyterian Church. Pastors Palmer, Westhaver, and Orloff, who helped shape my faith and values. Sunday school, church school teachers, bell ringing, church services, and church youth group trips funded by peanut brittle sales, where we learned hard work. During the 60s, we were introduced to social and political issues firsthand in big cities, such as Boston and New York City. Most everything was within biking or walking distance. I know it's hard to imagine, but that's one of the things I cherish about growing up in Lockport. My school began with Mrs. Race's preschool, where Cindy Storrs Cotton was my longtime friend. She reminded me tonight that we've probably known each other 70 years, which is just amazing. John Pound Elementary School, fantastic students, fantastic teachers. Then busing was introduced, and so I was bused to North Park, where I spent 6th grade in Mrs. King's class. Then back to Emmett Belknap Junior High School, and finally Lockport Senior High School. Other early things that shaped me were a newspaper route. I delivered the Buffalo Courier Express, a morning newspaper, for 6 years. Taught me discipline, getting up every morning early, despite the weather, to deliver newspapers, and then having that joy of collecting from the patrons that thought they paid me last week. In sports, I played Little League at Rayleigh Stadium in Vets Park, Summer Softball League at Eltro Park, Boy Scouts in the First Baptist Church, piano lessons. I stopped taking piano lessons at the age of 12, and then I took a 60-year break, and then last year started taking piano lessons again. So I'm not sure that piano's like riding a bike that you never did, but I want to encourage you, it's never too late. My dad worked at Harrison's, as many parents did during that day. And finally, patriotism, particularly watching the many parades. I still remember going down to the Army Veterans Day Parade and watching the National Guard folks watch, and that made an impression on me. And just the patriotism of this city as we were growing up. Now, my Lockport Senior High School memories, experiences, particularly sports, the soccer team. This was, I believe, the first year that Lockport Senior High School had a soccer team. So Jim Ashcroft took kids that never had played soccer before. There was no youth soccer leagues at the time. So he got us misfits together and taught us the fundamental skills of soccer. It must have been very frustrating. But we learned about hard work and teamwork. And what a wonderful group of teammates I had. Basketball under Ken Brownbach at Emmett Belknap and Dick Crossett at LSHS. You've already heard about some of the incredible practices we had. One of my memories, probably one of my most favorable memories, was winning over Ken East when I didn't take the final shot, but because it bounced off the rim, I got to tap it in at the buzzer. It was on the hardwood that I learned how to push myself physically and mentally at the grueling practices we endured. That helped me prepare for the rigors of West Point, Beast Barracks, and then for 30 years in the infantry in the Army over my career. And then tennis. Frank Vogel was our coach for 4 years. He was patient and provided crucial encouragement and coaching during matches. He taught us to be humble in victory and proud in defeat. We were the first team, I believe, to play on the new high school tennis courts, whereas we had previously played at Emmett Belknap's tennis courts. music band under Ed Rohde and Jerry Sadler. I played the trumpet, but they needed a tuba player, and I was the biggest guy, so I became the tuba player. So I had to carry the sousaphone in the marching band. I stored my sousaphone in the music room, and one day I was having trouble getting sound out of it. So Mr. Sadler said, well, he hooked up a garden hose to it and blew out somebody's sack lunch, some coins, and a whole bunch of paper and stuff that people had stuffed in there thinking it was a trash can. LSH has provided plenty of opportunities, especially dances, hops, here in the high school gym. Our Holly Hop, my graduating year, was a Currier and Ives Christmas theme. It tells you how long ago that was. Teachers, I've heard specific teachers mentioned tonight. Everyone provided a high quality education, which I did not appreciate until when I got at West Point and I realized, compared to a lot of my contemporaries, how well prepared I was for that rigorous program. My roommate was the valedictorian at a high school, and he almost failed out of West Point the first semester. So I knew that my education was quality. I hesitate to name individual teachers, like Gracie said. That was 56 years ago. Unfortunately, many of them are not here. But we did have school administrators, Dr. McIntyre, and who can forget, Vice Principal Sheriff Fred Case. We definitely had law and order in the school. Nearly every teacher, and I looked through the yearbook the other day as I was preparing for this, and looking at each teacher literally either had a positive experience or I could remember fondly for doing something that contributed to my development. I learned about West Point when my classmate Dave Coulter encouraged me to attend a college orientation. And Maurice Guston was a West Point cadet, and he came there. So I had never heard of West Point before, so I was really intrigued by the opportunity to develop myself physically, mentally, spiritually, and in leadership. But Dave was a lot higher in the class than I was, so I walked out of there saying, well, that's not going to be my possibility. And Dave says, you know, that's not for me. I don't think I want to do it. An opportunity presented itself. Now, this was 1968, and just at the beginning of the divisiveness in our country over the Vietnam War, which grew after graduation from LSHS. Unfortunately, we did not have to go through that during my graduating year. I recall coming back from soccer games. Our soccer games are in the afternoon, but I was also in the marching band. So I'd get home, wolf down my meal, throw on my uniform, grab my sousaphone, and head up to Emmett Belknap, usually just in time to go do the march off and play the halftime activities. Unfortunately, too many times our kids have to choose between what they do, and I think that's a real shame. So I really appreciated the diversity of things doing that. I think another thing that impressed me was lifelong friends. People didn't move around as much as they do now, and so those many years ago, we had stability in our classes. It was very unusual to get a new student in or not, which allowed us to provide a core group of friends that we could develop relationships that last to this day. I looked through our high school yearbook from 1969, preparing for the event. As I looked at the picture of each classmate, it was nice to have a fond memory of everyone, either a specific event or a memorable interaction. It made me wonder, where are they now? What are they doing? And how are they doing? In conclusion, I'm incredibly proud to have been raised in Lockport and fortunate to have graduated from Lockport Senior High School. My experiences here, the lifelong friendships I made, and how well LSH has prepared me for the West Point and a career in the Army have been blessings to me throughout my life. I must add that my mom asked me every year when I was going to do something worthwhile, like be a teacher or a lawyer. So I was listening to the teachers and the lawyers saying, okay, well, Mom, I think I am doing something worthwhile. Bless her heart. Anyhow, thank you for the honor and privilege. Thank you for my honorees, and thank you, Wayne, for letting me do this.
I just wanted to thank you for attending and congratulate these people on stage who are distinguished. And I prefer the word remarkable. What a remarkable group of people. And I thank all of you for coming. Bill's got a couple things he'd like to add.
Thank you, Wayne. 23 years ago, approximately 23 years ago, principal here at Lockport High School and his secretary had a vision that they wanted to do something for the students here. And they also wanted to honor those graduates who've gone on and done amazing things in life. And it's because of Frank Mavalli and Gracie Scirto that we have this tonight. And, you know, if you think about it, there's been so many great people that have graduated from this school and gone on and done remarkable things. And we've only touched the surface. So I encourage any of you, if you have somebody you'd like to nominate, please let us know. We try to do this ceremony every year. We ran into COVID that knocked us for a couple of years. And then last year they did a renovation in this beautiful auditorium in the foyer. So we couldn't have a ceremony, but we hope to have one every year. I'd like to thank all of you for coming tonight and honoring these people. Congratulations to the honorees. You certainly deserve tonight. And thank you to my board members. And I hope you have a safe and happy night. Bye.